Am I the butthole for not trying harder to let my ex know our son passed? Sorry for any layout issues, I am on my phone. Also, throw away as my ex follows my main. Both myself F and my partner M were 28 when I found out I was pregnant. Together 4 years. Personally, I didn't want the child. My work was offering potential advances within my position, and I was excited for it. But after a lot of talking, we decided to go forward with it. When I was around 20 weeks, just after finding out the gender, he disappeared. I couldn't contact him, he wouldn't answer the phone or messages. I got worried and messaged his mother and found out he was living back with her and was overwhelmed with the situation. He kept paying his part of the bills over to my bank each month, but I received no contact. I even tried going over, nothing. By about 27 weeks, I gave up trying, gave up crying, and just got on with what I thought was a future as a single mother. I brought everything needed over the next couple of weeks and set it all up. At 31 weeks, I started having pains, but put it down to Braxton Hicks. Just before 32 weeks, my waters went and I went into labor, with the baby coming very quickly. He went straight to NICU. I messaged and rang my ex and his mother. No response. Less than a week later, my son passed due to complications of early birth. I again tried to contact my ex and his mother. Left voicemails and messages. Nothing. The next few weeks were a blur, but with the help of my mother and father, his funeral was arranged. They tried to contact ex and his mother also. Still nothing. I sent more messages. Nothing. I'm assuming we were probably all blocked, but honestly at that point I didn't care. I was so broken. His funeral came and went. It was beautiful and horrible. I stopped messaging and told my family not to bother after the funeral had passed. I couldn't deal with it anymore. About 5 months after his birthday, my ex turned up, let himself in. I wasn't at home, but when I got back he was instantly hostile. The flat was clearly not set up for nor accommodating a small child. He demanded to see his son. I broke down and told him what happened. I have never seen him so sad and angry. He stormed out, slamming the door on his way out. Within half an hour, I got a nasty call from his mother, followed by messages from siblings of their family. How dare I not let them know something so serious? How could I hide something like that out of petty spite? I truly didn't. I tried, but I couldn't keep trying. It's been nearly 3 weeks now of them being awful. I was speaking to my sister this weekend, and she said, to be fair, it was a bit of a jerk move to not keep trying. They deserved to know. Was it? I tried so hard to let him know, but I was struggling so hard too. I lost my son too. Am I the butthole? Should I have done more? Edit. Thank you all so much for your responses. Sorry for not replying to any. Reading them has been a lot. Honestly, I'm going to drink a bottle of wine or two, read your kind responses, and cry myself to sleep. Writing this all out and living it again has been hard. Unfortunately, I'm not able to change. The lock's landlord said no, but my tenancy ends on the 12th of June, and I already have a new flat to move into. And thankfully my dad has been able to cover the cost of a private therapist, and I see her again Tuesday. Thank you all so much again for your kind words. Second edit. If I had realized this was going to blow up so much, then I probably would have just posted to my main. If you see this post anyway, read it, Lewis. Then read it again. Then read the comments. Then just leave me alone. Thank you all for your comments. I'm going to show my therapist the post when I see her and talk it through. But honestly, it has helped a lot. Even if I did cry quite a bit. I'm going to sleep now and won't be back on this post. But thank you all. Update. The previous post was locked, but I've had a few messages asking after me, so before I leave this account completely, I just wanted to let people know I'm alright. The move went smoothly. I'm far enough away that there is no risk of bumping into my ex or his family. I changed my number and deleted all social media, so haven't had anything from them personally for about 6 weeks. My sister apologized for what she said, and we've spoken a lot about it all. I definitely don't think our relationship is the same, but we're okay. I still hear they're speaking badly about me from friends, but I try and ignore it. I'm in therapy still, and I'm trying my hardest to move forward with everything. I visit my son's grave when I can. Thankfully, my ex and his family care so little about more than themselves they never asked where he is buried, so I can do so in peace. Thank you all for everything you said. I have found myself going back to the previous post a lot over the last couple of months, and it has helped more than I can express. I'll be leaving this account now, but again, thank you. Update 2. Forgot about Reddit till I was clearing out some apps for phone space. Thought I'd send out a final update before I send the app to the void. Wish I could say things are amazing. Great job, new partner, blah blah blah. But it's nothing as great or exciting as that. Moved into my new flat last year and it's nice. Forgot how expensive it is to live alone, but I'm managing. I did end up getting a new job. Its pay is about the same, job role also, but X doesn't know where it is. He didn't show up at old job or anything exciting like that. I just wanted a new start along with my new home. No new partner, I don't have it in me to date yet. Sister stuff, where LC. She apologized, but she still speaks with X on occasions according to my mom. Nothing dramatic and Reddit style like, OMG, they're actually secretly effing and have 5 babies and blah. Just that my sister will talk to him if they bump into each other. But honestly, kinda hurts after everything. Still in therapy, I doubled the length of sessions around the 1-year date of my son's passing. Thankfully my ex didn't turn up at his grave, or at least not when I was there. I'm not gonna go into it too much, but it sucked. It hurt a lot, and I spent quite a few days drunk and crying in bed after the visit. My dad has been my rock through this all. I'm still paying him back for everything he waves me off when I say I'm gonna pay pound X amount this month, but I know his bank cries lol. We have a morning together on a Sunday where we just drink tea, catch up, maybe put on the F1. It's nice and I love the time together. But basically, just boring thankfully. No ex contact nor his family, no massive life changes, just one foot in front of the other. I reread everything I posted last year and read loads of the comments I gave, and I just want to say thank you. I was in a really bad place mentally, and it was hard to see that I wasn't the villain in this. A mixture of therapy and all the comments helped. So, thank you all. Next story. My 41M wife 41F kissed another man on a night out. I wasn't bothered, and now she's causing issues over it. Sorry if the title doesn't make much sense, I didn't know how to word it. Also on throwaway as I don't want this on my main. Bit of context. We've been together since we were 18. Never had a great sex lift after the first year. Maybe once or twice a year at most since then, but at the minute, it's going on 3 years, and although it bothers me, I love her, and I love our kids, so I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. I know plenty of friends in the same situation. Another bit of context is that I've always been mildly overweight, but always fit as I played a lot of sports until about 10 years ago, when I got really ill, and a mixtures of meds and comfort eating made me balloon up to nearly 300 pounds. Well, 2 years ago, I decided to do something about. I'm now around 200, which at 6'2" is the lightest I've been as an adult, and I've actually enjoyed using weights, and for the first time in my life have a bit of abs and some muscle. My wife, having always been far hotter, is pretty obvious insecure about the fact that for the first time we've been together women are starting to look at me and message me on my baking pages on social media. For the record, I've never even looked at another woman in that way. On to the night in question. My wife went out with some friends, a mix of single and in a relationship. She looked stunning and I told her so. I even updated my phone home screen to that picture of her lol. One of the friends she was out with messaged me about 3 months, and the gist was she knows I get no sex. My wife doesn't realize how lucky she is, and basically do I want to hook up. I obviously instantly take a screenshot and send it to my wife. Around 4 and my wife gets home, and she wakes me up as she gets into bed. I'm half awake but can tell something is wrong and ask what the matter is. She doesn't say anything for a few seconds, and as I go to grab her hand, she pulls away. I ask if she wants me to get her a drink, and she says no. Then she just blurts it out and says, "I met a guy tonight, he kissed me. I didn't kiss back at first, then I did." Then for the next half hour we were dancing and constantly kissing. She kept saying sorry and begging me not to leave her. My honest first reaction was, so what, it's only kissing and dancing. I didn't say that. I just hugged her and tried to calm her down. An hour or so later, once I got the right words in my head, I said, "I know you feel really guilty, but please don't. I'm not going to leave you and break up our family over some kissing and dancing, and I don't love you any less than I did yesterday, and this isn't something that's going to grow and cause an resentment." More or less right on cue, my phone goes off, and it's that friend of hers with a picture and a video of what my wife was doing. This set my wife off again, but my feelings still haven't changed, and a month later that remains the case. In that month since then, my wife has accused me of not loving her because I didn't care. She's accused me of kissing other people and more, which is why I didn't care, as I was covering up my own indiscretions, and she's accused me of being gay multiple times, which doesn't make sense. She keeps asking me why I haven't initiated anything with her, even though in the past she's told me she hates being touched and not to ever try it on with her, which I have respected. She's basically projecting, and it's annoying me as it's putting a strain on us, which she is 100% causing. How do I get through to her that she needs to stop feeling guilty and just move on because I have, as it's not a big deal? I was genuinely more annoyed when she broke my baking bowl and tried to blame it on the cat. Lol. TLDR, wife kissed another man. I don't care, and now she's causing problems because she's guilty and projecting. How do I stop this? Edit. Hi all, just wanted to say thank you all so much for taking the time to respond to me. I really do appreciate it, and I'm overwhelmed you all took the time. I keep getting asked a few questions, so thought I'd address them here. Over the years, we have been to a few different couples counselors and sex therapists, the latest being last September for both. My wife always feels like she's being victimized by them, and we stop going. Nearly all have said, though, they think she is asexual, and two even saying she is displaying a lot of signs of being a closeted lesbian, which I have brought up to her before, and she is adamant she's not. On that note, I've had a lot of messages saying she wants to feel wanted, and for me to be more forward with her. This is not true. In all our sessions, she said she doesn't want me trying it on with her, she doesn't even want me to initiate hugs, and just bringing up sex makes her feel under pressure. She let me, and our therapists, know that if she ever sex without her initiating, it will be no more than pity sex. As for people saying I don't love her, I buy her flowers every Friday on the way home from work. I bake her favorite cookies or cupcakes every weekend. I send her voice notes of songs I'm listening to that remind me of her. I tell her I love her every day. I run her a bath every night. This isn't me showing off, this is how I was brought up to show love, for those saying I must have been brought up in an unloving home. People have said that I don't get jealous, I don't love her. If she told me she was having an emotional affair, she spent hours on the phone with someone else laughing and joking. She snuggled on a sofa eating chocolates and watching TV with someone, etc., I'd be devastated. A dance and a kiss isn't a big deal to me, and not even close to divorce. Thank you all again for reading Roman 20. Second edit, sorry for these. It's 7 a.m. in the morning here now, the day after I posted this. Been talking to my wife since 6 and said she's got a week to agree to go back to couples counseling, and she's got to stick it out this time and not just accuse them of taking sides and refuse to go back. She said no. She said they all bully her and make her out to be the bad guy. She said I went back on my word that I forgive her and won't resent her. I said this isn't about the kiss, it's about her reaction since the kiss, and that it feels like she's purposely trying to drive me away and make me leave her. She just got up and stormed out the room. She then got dressed and said she's going out until I go to work. Update. It's been nearly 2 weeks since I made the post, and the short update is that we are getting divorced. I said in my last post, I told her I wanted us to go back to couples counseling and sex therapy. She said no to both as we went before, and she felt bullied. She said at sex therapy that unless she initiates touching, not just sex, any touching like hugs or hand holding, it will be against her will and will be for said pity affection from her. The sex therapist said that's very unreasonable, and that's why she felt bullied there. I tried to ask her a few questions too. Are you a lesbian or at least bi? Don't be stupid. Are you asexual? I'm not a teenager with a stupid label. What did he have I don't? Nothing, I just wanted to do it. Why don't you ever want to do that with me? Don't know. What can I do to make you want to do that to me? Don't know. Do you want me to take the initiative and try it on with you more? F no, I'll tell you when I want it, don't guess. So she refused the therapy and gave me no straight answers. She has also said I've gone back on my word about not letting the kiss split us up because now it is. I said it's not the kiss, it's your behavior since then that has caused me to want to divorce. She said as it's my decision to divorce and it's all my fault, then I should be the one to tell out kids and she will have no part of it. That was hard. As soon as they were told, my wife left for her sister's, and in the 3 days since I haven't heard anything from her. I've tried speaking to her about the kids as they miss her, but she reads my messages and ignores me. A lot of people asked about the friend and why they still talk after she tried it on with me. How I understand it is my wife tried to get the friend group to cut the friend out, but they all pretty much refused, and so my wife just chose to ignore her in group settings. On the night in question, the friend approached my wife and told her if she didn't tell me she would send me the video. So my wife didn't tell me because she felt guilty, but because she was forced. I've also spoke to a couple of other friends in the group and asked what's been going on. I'm not privy to. Apparently my wife was sexting her friend's boyfriend a couple of years ago. My wife has also been boasting about how she has me under the thumb and she gets away with giving me nothing and I'm too scared to ask. The friend apparently saw me out shopping one day and decided I was now more attractive and thought she'd try and exact some revenge on my wife. So she didn't really want me, I was just a pawn in this weird friend group's one of many internal beefs with each other which I found out about in the last few days. Basically, they all seem to hate each other and mess with each other's partners. I'll be honest now and I feel incredibly guilty about it, but when she left, my body and soul seemed to take a massive sigh of relief. It was like a black cloud that was dripping eggshells on the floor for me to constantly avoid has gone. I feel terrible for feeling this way, but I feel like I'm my 6'2" height now, rather a brow-beaten 3 foot who was scared to even say anything for fear of being told I'm wrong or insulted or ridiculed. It's like the blinkers have been taken off. Spent the day today baking with my kids, eating Easter eggs and watching cartoons, and I haven't stopped smiling all day. I haven't winced or broke out in a sweat worrying I'm about to be told off about being too noisy or watching the wrong thing on TV, or there's a wrapper on the floor, etc. Thank you everyone for your support on my last post. I appreciate you all. Mini update. Sorry for updating here, I'm only allowed to make one update on Ra. Also want to thank everyone again for their concern and kindness they've shown me on my 2 posts, and also thank you to everyone on Boru who made some lovely comments after my post was shared on there. Unfortunately, the post was locked before I found out, so I couldn't thank you all personally. After my last update, a lot of people commented and messaged me to say that am I sure my kids are mine. This thought never entered my head until I read what people said. Last Thursday I ordered a paternity test, sent it Friday, and awaiting the results. At this point I don't really care, it won't change my love for them, but I'm terrified if they come back as not biologically mine I'll lose them. I discussed this with my lawyer last week, who said if they aren't mine, it will be much harder to get even any kind of custody. I told him if it comes to that, then I'll keep fighting until the end. Blood or no, they are my boys. Speaking of the boys, my STBX has seen them a couple of times with her mum, who is genuinely a nice person, and the kids have been fine. I can't say the same about my baking equipment though. She came into the house on Friday last week when she knew I was out and took a lot of it and purposely broke some bits she knew had sentimental value to me that came from my grandma and my mum. I can't prove she did anything, and she brought the stuff back on Sunday and said she just borrowed the items, but I love baking, and she is slowly ruining it for me. I'd already deleted my Instagram page because she was insecure about the women who followed me, and this time she must have remembered I was making a cake for my niece's birthday and tried to sabotage it. I've made notes and screenshots of everything. As a lot of you rightly predicted, she had also been cheating on me a lot, although no evidence of it being physical yet from what I can tell. Her friend, who is also in this WhatsApp group, where women basically just post nudes and men comment, I still need to get the details of this group so I can finally get to see some boobs again. Lol sent me a lot more screenshots of photos she's taken all around our house, blatantly her bedroom in some of them, and one even stood against my car. Also, a few of these friends are single, and when they hook up with someone, my wife will add the guy on Facebook and has basically been offering herself to them. One of the friends messaged one of the guys who still had the chats in his Facebook DMs and sent the friend a load of screenshots to send to me. All in all, I must have over 100 screenshots of stuff she's been saying and sending to people, and all of that is within the last couple of years, so it probably goes on further. As for the divorce, still in the early stages. One day I want to fight, the next I just want to give her everything materially, not the kids, and walk away and start again, so I can get this finished and done. If you got any questions, I'll try to answer. It's nearly midnight here, but I'll try to stay up. Lol. Mini update 2. Title: Got the DNA results and my sons are mine. Thank you for your support, everyone. X. Mini update 3. Title: It's 6 and nearly here. My ex-wife has the kids last night and I'm drunk and lonely. First night I've had to myself in maybe 20 odd years, and I didn't know what to do. I thought about getting someone round so I could finally have some physical interaction. Instead, I just sat on my own and drank for the first time in years too. Sorry for the boring post, I'm just lonely and wanted some affection. Update 2. I have moved back to my hometown and given my ex the house. I know people won't be happy with that, but I just wanted a clean break and no ties to her or that city. The kids are with me and see their mum at weekends, provided I make the 5-hour round trip to drop them off on a Saturday morning and then make the same trip Sunday afternoon to pick them up. I know again people will say I'm doing what she wants, but if it makes my kids happy, it makes me happy. She seems okay with this arrangement, although she has flaked twice already. Once the kids say they no longer want to go, I won't take them. The divorce is still going through, but won't be done for a few more months yet, according to my lawyer. I'm baking a lot more now and loving it. Thank you everyone who has thought about me, you are all so great. Update 3. Title: My 41MX41F messaged me yesterday saying she no longer wants to see our 2 kids and is happy to give them away in our divorce. How to navigate mixed emotions of this? I posted on here a few months ago. If you want to look at my profile, read them about my wife kissing another man on a night out despite not having had sex with me for years. I wasn't bothered and was willing to ignore it and carry on, but she kept making issues over it, and eventually we split up. I moved back to my home city about 2 hours away, and the kids came with me. My ex-wife said it was too far for her to travel to have them at weekends, so every Saturday morning I've been driving them up to her and then picking them back up Sunday evening so they got to see their mom. We'd make fun trips out of it and would take snacks, play audiobooks, have sing-alongs, etc., but I'd noticed they always seemed happier to be picked up than taken there. I just always assumed it was because all their stuff and their main home was with me. My ex has started to cancel these weekends a bit recently. 3 of the last 5 she's canceled. She started to say things like, "They don't like me anyway," and "You've poisoned them," which is not true. I have never said a bad about their mum to them or in front of them and never would. Plus, I make 2 4-hour round trips every weekend so she can see them and they can see her. I'll be honest, every Saturday after I drop them off, I cry all the way home. I miss them so much. They are my little best mates. Every night after dinner, we will all do our chores and do a different activity. Sometimes it's a walk in the woods behind my house, or we bake, or have movie nights, or read books together. I'm quite good with my hands and love making and fixing things, whether it's baking, cooking, DIY, or car repairs, and they have started to take an interest too. So we have a couple of projects on the go, like building a kind of Wendy house for them. But it will have games consoles, a fridge for their drinks and snacks, etc. Plus, we are also building a couple of petrol go-karts from scratch for them to race at a nearby track when they are done, which they are designing themselves and we are building together. Basically, my life is taken up with them in the week, and then at the weekends I feel like a lost zombie until it's time to go get them. Then yesterday I received a short text from her saying she no longer wants to see them. All they do is ask for me anyway. They don't have fun there, and they basically get in the way. I was absolutely heartbroken for my boys, and I rang her straight away. I'll be honest, I started crying as I felt so bad for them, and she genuinely acted like I was annoying her for wanting to get to the bottom of it. She then said, "Sounds like you don't want them either, and are just trying to palm them off at the weekends," and hung up on me. I don't even know how I'm going to tell them this. Do I just say she's canceled for a few weeks and see how it goes? Do I tell them the truth? How do I say it in a way that kids will understand and won't absolutely crush them? Then I've got the conflicted selfish emotion of pure joy that I'll have the whole weekends with them. It's so selfish of me, I know, as they are going to be sad while I'm happy. Has anyone been in a similar situation from my side or the kids' side? How do I handle this? TLDR. Ex-wife said she no longer wants to see the kids. I'm sad for them and happy for me. How do I handle this? Update 4. Quick recap. Split up with my wife a few months ago after she cheated on me on a night out. I was willing to stay, but she got upset I wasn't more upset and I had enough and left. I moved 2 hours away to my hometown and let her have the house. Our 2 sons came with me. I drive them to and from her house every weekend to see them, but she started canceling, and then one day texted me saying she no longer wants to see them and is happy to give them up in the divorce. So as far as her giving up her rights as parent, it's a lot harder than I thought. Both my lawyer and hers have told me that it's hard to do this in the UK, and neither of them have seen a judge allow it, unless there is a physical or sexual chance of harm to the children. However, they have both also said they've never presented a case like this to a judge where both parties agree to it fully. They've drafted an agreement where we both agree to my ex-wife no longer have responsibilities towards my children, including financially. Let's see what happens with that, just waiting now to get a court date, but they said that can be months away. On to the hardest part, telling my kids. I'll be honest, I haven't. The first couple of weeks I just said Mom had canceled again when they asked, and the eldest in particular seemed pretty relieved at this both times, and last weekend they didn't even ask. It's been over a month now since they've seen her. The eldest has also told me that he doesn't like going there anyway, as all she does is sleep and shout. He also told me the other day he prefers his new house and he feels more relaxed. I feel terrible, as I was obviously missing signs before that he wasn't fully happy when we were together as a family. At least he's more comfortable now. I had a bit of a wobble last night with my youngest though. He was watching Land Before Time and then he started saying he misses his mom and then started crying. It was full-blown tears and breaking down, and it was awful to see. While I was holding him I started crying, but I made sure he couldn't see. I didn't say anything bad about his mum or tell him she doesn't want to see him anymore. I just hugged him and stroked his hair and told him I'll always be here for him and he can always come to me if he's upset, happy, or just wants to be silly, and I'll never push him away. Once they were in bed, I was in pieces, blaming myself for leaving their mum, questioning why I couldn't be stronger and live with it for a few more years until they were adults. It was me who left. It's me who's made them drive up and down the country every weekend, unsettled them, uprooted their lives. At 2 a.m. this morning, I drafted a text to my wife asking her to get back together and to be a mum again. Luckily, I didn't send it. I had about 3 hours sleep but feel better this morning. None of her family have been in touch either to try and maintain a relationship with the boys. It's horrible to be honest, but they are the ones missing out on these two amazing kids. One of her cousins messages me every so often, but she asks more about me than kids, so that either feels like ulterior motive or a trap which I'm not falling into. As for my divorce, MG lawyer has said it should hopefully be finalized before Christmas. Not that it'll make much difference. I don't wear my ring, and she has a new 20-year-old boyfriend, not the guy she cheated with. Will be nice though to finally be able to say ex-wife and it be official. TLDR, not much success with kids' mum dropping responsibilities officially. Kids seem a bit happier. Next story. My husband made me believe that soulmates aren't real. I am using a different account so that my husband doesn't know. Before meeting my current husband, I was married to my ex-husband, Dave. Dave and I met when we were 5 years old. He moved into our neighborhood when he was 5. He was this cute boy next door. We became inseparable. Even our parents joked that when we would be adults we would be married. Ever since I knew the concept of marriage, I was determined that I would marry Dave. We were like soulmates. We had the same interests, the same hobbies, the similar thoughts. He was my first everything. My first kiss, my first boyfriend. The guy I lost my virginity. Among our friends, we were the perfect couple. After graduating high school, we immediately got married. I got into a good school, but I decided to study with Dave. We got married right after we finished high school. Our parents helped us find an apartment closer to our school. We worked hard. We would often talk about having kids. On our 6th anniversary, we decided that we would try for a baby next year. I still remember the day when we were teenagers and cuddling. We already decided what our babies' names would be. During our 7th year of marriage, my mom got sick, so I had to stay with her for a while. I was planning to do something special for our 7th year anniversary, so I left early to surprise him. I went to my bedroom and there I saw my husband effing another girl in our marital bed. I can never get that image out of my head. My husband saw me and his face turned to pale. I don't know what happened, but I threw up right in the spot. My husband was giving me the usual, "It's not what it looks like, I am sorry." It was a mistake. I locked myself in the bathroom. I somehow mustered my strength and called my friend to pick me up and just don't listen to Dave. When my friend arrived, she charged at Dave. She grabbed some of my things and we left. I was in a catatonic stage at that point. Eventually my parents knew. They supported on whatever decision I would make. Dave's parents, however, wanted us to be together. There was a huge fight, but eventually we settled for divorce. My whole fairy tale fantasy just shattered. I was spiraling into depression. My parents booked me a therapy. For 2 years I was like a living corpse. After that my friend pushed me to go on a date. I did, but no one even came close to Dave. I was searching for Dave in every guy, but they all failed to live up to the expectation. That is when I met my now husband, Jay. Jay was the opposite of Dave. Dave was funny. He would be the life of the party. I remember one time he made me laugh so hard that I fell from my chair. But Jay was not funny like Dave. He would use humor only as clapbacks, and if he wants to insult someone. He was also very stoic and closed off. Pretty boring to my taste. On our first date, I asked him some questions like, "What is your favorite movie?" He told me he doesn't watch movie. He liked reading. He didn't even ask me a thing. Except for my educational background. He talked mostly about my field of work. But he was not interested in me. We ate dinner in silence. I was 100% sure he will not call me. But 2 days later he did. He asked me out on a second date. I was skeptical of whether or not I should go. But my friend insisted. I gave it another try. Second date went slightly better than first. He talked a bit more. Asked few questions. We were taking it slow. He was opening up until the sixth date. When he finally hooked up TMI, it was amazing. I am someone who has a snack after having sex. I was craving for some, so I asked him if I could grab something from his pantry. Even a bread and cheese sandwich will do. He told me to stay there and he went out. I was kinda confused. He came back after 20 minutes with takeout food. It was something I really liked, orange chicken. I asked how he knew. He told me, "You told me on our previous date." I melted right there. Dave and I have been together for most of my life. But he never made the effort of going out and get me something. That's when I knew even if he was not my soulmate, I was madly in love with him. We dated for 3 years and got married. I came to know about Jay's family too. His mom and dad were drug addicts who died of overdose. He was homeless for a while, but worked his way up. Throughout our marriage, I was very happy. He was different from Dave because whenever he would see me doing chores, he would ask, "Need help?" He helped me through my trauma from Dave by arranging a therapist that specializes in infidelity. He may not be a person of words, but his actions tells me that he loves me. When I was pregnant with our daughter, I would wake him up in the middle of the night to either get me food or rub my feet. He would say, "Yes, ma'am," and get to work. I love him. Even after 15 years of marriage, my love has not stopped. He is still the stoic man I fell in love with. After meeting him, I stopped believing in the concept of a soulmate. He was not mine, but we somehow make it work. I love you, Jay. Thanks for being there in my life. And anyone who is wondering what happened to Dave, he is getting his 3rd divorce. His mom blames me for his downfall, but she refuses to see that her son cheated on his every marriage. Edit. I am sorry if there was any typing mistake. I am typing on my phone and the autocorrect is acting nuts. I tried to turn it off, but doesn't work. Update. I said I love you to my husband after 5 years. My husband 47M and I 46F have been together for 18 years and married for 15. My husband is not the type who always shows his feelings. He is very stoic, smiles on very few occasions and maintains a routine. Some even say that he is a robot, but I don't think so. I am someone who is very outgoing and completely the opposite of him. Before I was married to him, I was married to someone else who cheated on me. I used to say, "I love you" a lot in my first marriage. But after my divorce, I had some sort of aversion to those words. Over the last 18 years, we have said, "I love you" only 5 times. First time was when we were dating, second was on our wedding day, third and fourth when our daughter and son was born, fifth was 5 years ago on Christmas when we were really tipsy because of the drinks. I wrote a post about how I met him and how we got together, but it made me realize that we haven't said "I love you" to each other for a long time. But it didn't bother me. Even if he never said it, he always shows that he loves me in his actions. He does chores for me. He would always give me a foot massage, make me my favorite dish, even kiss me out of the blue. I do not have any complaints. He is the best husband anyone could ever ask for. But this was something that has been in the back of my mind for a while. We cuddle, we hang out, we make love, but still no. I love you. I would love to hear it and say it more often, but somehow it just makes me nervous. I decided to buckle up and just say it. It's just 3 words. So yesterday when he was reading a book on the couch, I stood in front of him and said, "I love you." He looked at me and was confused. I repeated it. For the first time, I could see him get flustered. He told me, "Okay." I was a little disappointed by his response. I thought he just didn't love me anymore. Later that night when I was lying down, he came to our bedroom and told me that he is sorry for his response, that it caught him off guard. He told me that he loves me a lot, and not even a day goes by he doesn't feel lucky to have me in his life. I was tearing up. That was better than my confession. I asked him that why don't we say that often? He told me that he doesn't say it because throughout his entire life, no one has said it to him except for me. His parents were drug addicts who cared less for him. He had to start working since 14. He grew up in hardships, so saying, I love us are weird for him, but also he feels like we didn't have to tell each other when we express it with our actions way more. I told him I want to say it more now and want him to say it back if that's okay with him. I saw him smile for a while. He said it is fine as long as I want it. I don't think we need to say it when we know we love each other a lot. We will probably stop saying it after a few days and go back to our mundane events lol. Update 2. Story of my husband Jay. A lot of you people have been asking me and personally messaging me about Jay's upbringing and how he managed to survive. Well, I am not sure if I am the right person to talk about his personal life. I mean, I heard some parts which really made me cry. Therefore, I will try to summarize it. So, my husband Jay is an only child. His mom and dad were from a poor family. They were drug addicts. His household was a mess. He remembers his father pushing him down the stairs when he was like 8. Jay mostly grew up with his grandfather, his mom's dad. As far as I know, his mom was not allowed to come to his grandfather's house. Jay mostly spent his weekdays at his house. His mom and dad didn't care. They were always high and have odd visitors. His grandfather taught him a lot of things, like handling tools, woodwork, electric repair stuff. Ever since he was little, with some advice from his grandfather, he learned that his parents are very useless. He has to survive on his own. All they know is how to do drugs and invite people for having group sex. He started doing odd jobs like dog sitting, car and window washing, gardening. He also tutored from time to time. Shortly after, his parents died of overdose. He became a permanent resident of his grandfather's house. He worked so that he could afford to go to college. His grandfather had little money for him, but it wasn't enough. He thought about joining the army at 18, but he failed the physical test. When he was 17, his grandfather died of heart attack. His grandfather lived in a rented house, so Jay couldn't live there anymore. He was forced to live in a homeless shelter throughout his high school. He even got bullied and got in trouble for standing up for his bullies. But since he was a good student, he didn't face serious repercussion. He left the homeless shelter when a pastor from their local church took him in. He knew Jay because he worked in the church for a while. The pastor was a nice guy. He funded his living and also helped him get a scholarship to a good university. Jay studied fiancé and business. His entire childhood, he lived in poverty. So, he was obsessed with learning how to make money. He made some connections which landed him a good part-time job during his final year. I met Jay through my friend. She worked in the same company as him. He worked as an investment banker at that time, and the rest you all know. This is pretty much it. I understand why he is so stoic and doesn't show his emotions. I once asked out of curiosity that he saw the harsh reality of life, but still how does he manages stay good? He once told me about this couple whose children he used to tutor. They were a really happy family in his eyes. The husband loved his wife. He mentioned that the husband would always have a hand on his wife's body as a form of affection. Their children were also well behaved and had a good childhood. From that moment he knew he wanted a family like that, because he never had a complete family. But he was sure that somebody would not be able to love him because he doesn't know how to show love. Throughout his entire childhood, he has only seen his parents fight and cheat on each other in front of each other. That really destroyed his perception of love. If it wasn't for that couple, he probably wouldn't believe that there are people in this world who can love each other for life. It is a little wrong of me to say he displays no emotions. He does, but on rare occasions. I remember the day our daughter was born. Jay held her and cried loudly. He kept repeating, "I will protect you. I never leave you." He did say, "I love you" to both me and her. Same thing happened when our son was born. I mean, it gave me an idea to just pop out babies so that I can see his emotional face, haha. But anyways, I know he does love me and our little family. He always holds me tight whenever we are cuddling. He is really good with my parents. My parents also adore him. Sometimes it just makes me cry knowing that he has been through a lot and I have lived such a sheltered life. Sometimes I feel like I don't deserve him because he is very kind and a good person. Also, yeah, we do say I love you a lot more now. Final update. Thank you, Reddit. I just wanted to give big thanks to everyone for who has been kind and supportive. I cannot imagine that so many people will come through because of my post. A lot of you suggested therapy. TBH I did in the past, but my husband brushed it off by saying his past rarely bothers him. Thanks to people in Reddit, I suggested him some articles on PTSD and childhood trauma. He studied for a bit and found a therapist for him to help him with his trauma. He only had 2 sessions till now. Few days ago, he came home from work and I went to greet him like usual. He pulled in for a big hug and started sobbing. I told him it's okay. We went to our bedroom where we sat down and talked. He told me that he was sorry for being so ice cold all these years. He opened up more and said he was afraid to confront his demons, so he just kept them back in his head. He had trouble expressing how he felt. He felt guilty that he didn't say he loves more often. I am just paraphrasing what he told me. I love you with all my heart. I know I don't say it, but I feel it every day and every moment. I am sorry for taking away all those years from you, for not expressing my love for you. Words cannot express what you actually mean to me. You gave me my kids, made my house a home. I never had that growing up. I always wanted that, and you made it happen. I am sorry that I was so cold and never said I love you more. Because I do. I love you a lot. I want to make it up to you. I don't want to waste another second of my life burying those emotions anymore. It feels good to see him vulnerable first time in his life. I cried with him that night. We talked a lot about our marriage and the times we spent. It was a real bonding experience. From that day on, he has been really attentive towards me. He would always come home as early as possible to simply have more time with me. We cuddle a lot and also make love. Except this time it feels new and different, like a newfound love. He has been saying I love you to my kids. My son is confused and my daughter just said, "Dad, you are weird." He is thinking about planning a trip for just 2 of us because it has been really long since we had went on a trip alone. So thanks, Reddit. You gave me a new version of my husband and probably strengthened my marriage with him. Not that there was problems, but I hope my husband would not be so haunted by his demons now. I hope you guys like this video. If you did, make sure like, comment, share, and subscribe the channel James Stories.